Wolves asleep amidst the trees. Bats all asleep in the breeze.
Oh shit.
But one soul lies anxious wide
Oh my god. Fuck.
fearing no man of those bats and ways.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
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 All right. Who's excited? I'm excited.
Me too.
Me too.
All right. So, the first thing we're going to do before, we begin the session is we're going to go through introductions for everyone. So I'm going to introduce myself, and that would be Detroit, Zale. We're going to introduce everyone. I'm going to say a little thing about the campaign before we start and give some social media shout outs. And then when everyone does their introduction, I want you to state who you are, who you're playing, and what kind of character they are, like their race, their class, anything else you want to say about them. And then feel free to plug your social medias.
Also, whoever's typing.
Yeah, whoever's
I think
typing.
it might be Gunby.
Don't at me.
Lex.
It's very loud.
It's very loud, so please mute yourself.
Okay.
If you do anything that, if you leave the room or you need to do something else that is going to make noise, please try to mute the mic because it makes for an audio hellscape. If you don't. So I'm just gonna launch right into it. I've got 20 tabs open. Let's do this. Okay, so this is the Court of Spades. This is a homebrew campaign that I wrote entirely by myself. It's actually a reboot of a previous campaign that I did with this group of people, with a couple people we swapped out party member wise, but I essentially completely redid it. The only thing that remained the same is the name, the basic concept, and 2 of the NPCs. Everything else is brand new. So I'm Emily. I'll be your dungeon mother for the evening and all future sessions of this game. I'm also playing a character. His name is Nyx, but he also goes by Life sometimes. He is a tiefling mythical beast, which is a homebrew class. And there's music playing via Starry Wiz. There's not much to say about him that won't kind of be disclosed in the campaign. He's been traveling with Marin they've been traveling together for I think it's been 9 years now at this point.
9 years.
Yeah, and so,
a long ass time.
yeah, it's been a long ass time. He is 23. That's what we decided, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I believe he's 23 because Marin is 26, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, he's 23, doing his best, currently employed. The last thing that happened kind of in his backstory, quote unquote, was he is employed by a traveling carnival caravan known as Tea&D's Santa Elegrin, which is basically a traveling freak show. And that's about all I have to say about Nyx. I'm going to be using him as more of a conversation starter / combat assistance type character. Since I'm playing him, he won't be directly interfering with the progression of the plot at all. Really? I'm not gonna god mode my own character for the sake of this campaign. So yeah, he's more there to start conversations, help with decision making, stuff like that. But probably won't be super prominent in the actual plot. But yeah, my social media is Tiny Fairy Cosplay on Instagram and Tiny Fairy Lights on Twitter. So if anybody wants to go next, go right ahead.
For sake of theme purposes, I can go next. I'm Liz. I play Marin Marlios, the half-elf evocation wizard. M kind of covered most of it, but he has also been traveling with Nyx for the past year with BR Andes. With Catherine.
Santha Allegren?
Allegren. Basically performing. And that's about it.
What are your social medias?
Oh, right. My Instagram is Timris, Tymris, and my Twitter is the same thing but with 2 Ys.
Okay, who wants to go next?
I can go next.
Alright.
So my character is gun emoji, B emoji. He is a human cleric, and he lives an interesting life, I guess. His parents are humans, and his background is anthropologist, and he left his family when he was pretty young, and went and studied elf culture for a long time. So he's like a human, but he's almost an elf.
Not
So
quite a
he
half
lived in it for
elf.
a really long time. Yeah, there you go.
A wannabe elf.
Yes, exactly. I don't really have much to say about him. I don't know. But my social media is on Instagram, Hey Mirio, and that's about it.
Alright. Who's next?
I'll go ahead. So my name's Daniel, and the character I will be playing is Peter Longbottom, a halfling bard, specifically the College of Whispers. His background is guild artisan. He is a I would say he's a bard college dropout. He never officially got his certification, but that's not important. But the important parts are he was from a semi-wealthy family, semi-wealthy halfling family, and he was also a bit of a troublemaker as a kid. He was the kid that was spreading around a lot of gossip. He always got into fights, occasional petty thievery, and his family. The only way they could get him under control is through a music tutor. Playing music was one of the only few things that kept him under control and something that he was really interested in. And eventually, he decided to leave home to attend the Bards College. But at some point, a life of adventure was, and he just up and left college. He hasn't returned since. He hasn't technically finished his certification to be an official bard, but that's not important. And then my social media is on Instagram and Twitter is Detroit_94 with 2 Ds. And yeah, I'm really excited to play in this again. The previous version of this campaign, I played with some of you guys. I was playing a Kenku rogue, and I am planning to at some point multi-class into a rogue. So I'll be still your stealthy boy with a little bit of bard in there.
All right. Starry, did you go?
Hi, I'm Starry. I play Soul in the other campaign. But in this campaign, I play Valtira Yildir. She is a better. She eats fire. You can
Not ASMR Tarotmancer, no. ASMR.
You can find me on Instagram as Cosmic Period Version or Twitter as just Cosmic Version. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay, I think Zale. Yep.
I'm Zale. I'm going to be playing Peru Rawara. He is a sea folk. What's my class? I already forgot. Hang on.
You're a swashbuckler.
Yes, I am a swashbuckler with a lone survivor background, which will be fun. And all I can say about Peru is that he has trouble connecting with people, and that'll be fun. My social media is Prince_Zale on Instagram and PrinceZale18 on Twitter.
All right. Well, that's everything. So I guess I gotta start DMing now, huh? All right. This, as a disclaimer, this is going to be... I'm going to try to keep these sessions kind of small and compact, so they'll probably be running from like... obviously, we're going to do intros pretty much like every week, so the actual campaign itself will hopefully run from like 7:30 to 10. If I can help it. And this session specifically is going... might run short depending on how everyone wants to proceed, because a lot of this is going to be like world establishing and kind of is like establishing what the campaign is going to be. I'm blanking on the word I'm trying to come up with right now, but exposition, that's what it is. It's going to be a lot of exposition in this episode, but we will... this campaign is a little fast-paced, at least the way I have it planned, so it's going to quickly pick up after this session. But yeah, so I'm going to hopefully play some music. So Star, if you don't mind cutting Spotify, I'm going to try and work with rhythm. But rhythm has betrayed me in the past, so we'll see. Okay. There is a nation known as Remnant. It expands over nearly half of this world at this point. And on that continent lies the small peninsula of Althane. Many years ago, and no one quite knows what happened here, this peninsula became isolated from the rest of the mainland, separated from the rest of society by a wild and harsh wasteland known as the Evermore, where dark magic resides and volatile dangers lurk around every corner. The 4 kingdoms of Alphane lie spread out in erratic patterns and completely isolated from each other out of fear of reliving whatever horrid past lies behind them. The kingdoms are Oromir, Grimlock, Haven, and Elder's Bane, connected only by a few series of merchant paths, granting only those traveling merchants safe passage from one kingdom to the next. Our story begins in Grimlock, a small isolated city nestled into the foothills of the Ironforge Mountains, where there is a booming industry of mining for gemstones, ores, and the like. That's how these 4 cities survive, each of them possessing a unique resource that the other needs to survive. Grimlock's economy is based on these mountains. This dwarven community that has formed an entire empire commandeering the minerals in these Ironforge Mountains. If they were to ever run dry, the city would be bankrupt and lost forever. Grimlock is ruled by a single queen who, to those who have met her, know her as a kind and generous leader, though she remains far away and distant from the rest of the town. It's sometimes like she's not even there. However, one person knows her better than everyone else. The only name he's known by is Ace, and those who know him are few. He is the head of a branch of underground vigilantes hired by these 4 kingdoms to keep a kind of check on the criminal underground. If there's something that's perhaps out of the jurisdiction of what is lawful and what the royal militia can do, that's where the courts come in. Ace runs the branch known as the Court of Spades. It is the Grimlock branch of these courts, and what he essentially is a hired hand in exchange for treasures beyond most people's imaginations. He does the queen's dirty work for her, along with his band of fellow criminals. But they're criminals within a certain limit. They do possibly immoral, sometimes questionable tasks that in turn benefit the greater good. So they're essentially rats among the criminal community, working secretly for the queen in exchange for complete diplomatic immunity. They are untouchable in these communities. The current party has been recruited by Ace and has been working under the Court of Spades for about a month at this point. Up until now, though, you've only done what is like errand work, it seems like to you. You've stopped a couple petty crimes. You've perhaps done some desk work, even filing papers, counting coin, the likes. And it's been rather uneventful here. But today Ace has called you, and he left an address where all of you are meeting. It is the address of a local inn known as the Serpent's Shield. And that is where we find you at the beginning of this campaign. Before I put a start to this timeline, I'm going to give some backstory as to how you all ended up being recruited at the Court of Spades. Previously, in the last campaign, I made you guys go through kind of an initiation process for this, and that's not exactly how it works this time. So, Marin, I'm going to be talking about how you ended up here first. There is a small part of it where I'm going to ask for your input, so just be prepared. Marin's backstory is rolled into Nyx's backstory, but I'm going to be addressing you specifically, Marin. So, let's rewind a month. The air is dry. It's summer, but this is a different kind of heat. The kind that fills your lungs and sears your skin. And it's not coming from the sun. It's coming from the inferno that you're staring at, engulfing the only world you've known for the past year with an unrelenting hunger. You don't know what started it, but you have a fairly good idea. In the last town you stopped in, a certain heckler got a bit too violent and was hauled off by local authorities. Since then, Marin, you swear you could hear hooves late at night, circling the caravan as if someone's following you, but keeping their distance. Nyx wrote this off as leftover shock from the heckler's outburst, and you kind of let yourself be lulled back into a sense of security. After all, you're surrounded by your friends, your family. How could anything go wrong? Just as you're approaching your next destination, a town known as Grimoire, that's when they struck. Masked bandits, about 5 of them, raced out of the tangled wilds of the Evermore, launching incendiary spells and flaming bottles of explosive alike at your resting caravan. There was no time to react. They caught you completely off guard. You heard the screaming at the sound of the first shattered bottle and watched your companion rush from her now crumbled, ashen caravan, her serpapard wrapped tightly around her as she fled from the flames. You watched as Grug and Greg hauled a large piece of debris off the ground, tossing it to the side to reveal a small bird-like figure, unconscious and covered in soot. They cradled her in their arms and hurried away from the wreckage, and you quickly followed suit. What did you grab from your caravan before you left?
Oh, shit. Just my bag of spellbooks and Nyx.
Nyx is grabbing the only thing that he owns, which is the old tattered bedroll he used to sleep on before you guys kind of met up and started actually being able to afford a place to sleep. He also obviously grabs his pouch, which contains his small weapon, his dagger, his pouch of coins, stuff like that. And after he grabs what he can, he takes your hand and wrenches you away from the ruins of your home. Your eyes dart from one family member to the next, counting heads when you realize 2 people are missing. Fences and BR. You whip around, and your instinct and adrenaline drive you to go back for your friends, but Nyx restrains you, ignoring your cries of protest until you see her. Fences comes running towards you with a bundle of blankets clutched in her arms, and you quickly realize that she's holding BR's body, wrapped tightly in the blankets. You can't tell if he's alive, but what you can tell is that there's nothing left of what once was the great Bjarrandi's Sentha Elegrin. After a bit of mourning, your troop drags their haggard crew the last few miles to the nearby town of Grimoire, where you are taken in and sheltered from the night. A couple weeks passed, and you're already running low on funds. They can't host you for free forever, and as much as your sob story gets you looks of sympathy, you still have to pay for your livelihood here. So Marin, you and Nyx start performing on the streets together, bouncing different acts off of each other, and Nyx even transforms as much as his body as he can into the beast that he keeps inside him. It's not nearly as much as it once was, but it's enough to get you by. And one day, a man stops you and hands you personally a wad of bills for your show. It's the most money you've seen in weeks. And tucked inside that is a single playing card with the ace of spades on it and an address. Okay. So that's Marin. We're going to do Gunby next. Okay, so Gunby. We find you in the library, which is not uncommon. You are at the library in the town of Grimoire after you came here on your endless quest for more knowledge. It took some time because you weren't a merchant, you weren't transporting goods, so why should they let you in? But after some convincing, both of the verbal and monetary sense, they let you in. It's weird, though, when you arrived here, you immediately sought out their library, and when you found it, it was unreasonably small. Of course, to others it might not seem so small, but you've spent your time in libraries containing what seems to be the secrets of the world sometimes. But there's always something missing. You thought you'd be able to find some of the answers to the secrets that surround this place here in this library, but there's so much that they're not telling you. You've paged through nearly every book on the wall here, and then you heard that the land here was rich with mystery and a deep history of war and magic and arcane energy that nobody's ever quite been able to explain. And you haven't found an explanation. When we find you, you're asleep with a book in your lap. What do you think you were reading about?
Probably history, like the history of the arcane magic stuff that you're talking about.
Okay. Are you searching for anything in particular? Are you looking for information about the war? Are you looking for maybe some spells that you haven't quite heard of before? Are you searching about their religions, their kind of the history of the people of the town? What exactly are you? Are you looking about information about the other kingdoms?
The history of the people in the town. And,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Typically you wouldn't fall asleep reading. It tends to be something that can hold your attention for hours on end. And the library patrons have actually had to tell you to go home quite a few times until it reached a point where they just decided to hire you because you never really leave. You jolt awake, seeming to hear something, like a rustle, right by your head. But when you awake, there's nobody there. You kind of gather your senses, rub the sleep away from your eyes, and notice that the book that you were reading has fallen to the ground. When you pick it up, you leaf through the pages and find the one detailing the history of something known as the court system. And tucked into the first page of this book is a single playing card with an address on it. Okay, so that's Gumby. We're going to go to Peru next.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. Sorry, I'm switching over to the page. Alright. You know it's coming. The wind has tasted of it for hours now, and the sky has darkened to an intimidating shade of gray. Sorry, I can still hear rhythm. Hold on, technical difficulties. Is it working now, Starry? Okay, excellent. I will continue then. I'm gonna start from the beginning. Okay, so you know it's coming. The wind has tasted of it for hours now, and the sky has darkened to an intimidating shade of gray, threatening you with the looming promise of what's to come. You feel a chill run down your spine, and you frantically search this place for any kind of shelter, anywhere that you can coop up and take refuge from surely what will be one hell of a storm. You are actually not in the town of Grimoire. You are in the town of Haven. And you've kind of been wandering your way around the little shops that line Argent Harbor, the main and only port for fishing and any kind of foreign goods. This is the only port town that the kingdoms of Althane have. You quickly find shelter in a tiny tavern. It's the closest thing nearby to you that's still open. Everyone else has kind of boarded up their windows in preparation. After all, it is a coastal town, and storms here tend to be a bit violent.
Great.
But this isn't an inn. There's not a room for you to take up in. It's just a tavern, and when you enter, there's only one other patron and the bartender. What do you do?
I think I find the table farthest away from any of the windows.
Okay.
And I order myself a drink. Because it's going to be a long night.
Okay.
And
You...
I drink.
Alright. It seems like seconds after you enter this door when the rain comes. It's just as you predicted. It's violent and unrelenting, and the wind seems to be trying to break its way into this tavern, and you're kind of surprised that the tavern keeper seems indifferent towards it, just idly washing the glass in his hand and watching out the window as lightning dances down the sky and touches the sea below. That's when you hear a scream. And it's not from inside. And it's not from someone who should be out in this storm. It's a little girl. And you hear her and she's screaming and crying, "Help me! Somebody, please help me!" You can barely hear it over the pounding of the wind and rain against the door, but as you look out the window, you see her. She's clinging to a piece of driftwood that has caught on the beach, and the water is rushing quickly towards her, trying desperately to drag her away from the shore. You look and turn, and the other patron is unaffected. He seems to be possibly asleep at the table that he's sitting at. And again, that tavern keeper just cleans the glass. Do you go save her?
I hate you. I think. Oh God. God. I think.
You hear another crack of lightning, of thunder and lightning, and the board that she's clinging to splinters, nearly torn in half, and she's crying.
Fuck. Okay. I'm running out of the inn despite my absolute fear, and I'm running towards her, and I'm going to try and pull her up into my arms and out of the waves.
Okay. Roll a d20 and add whatever strength modifier you have.
Fuck. I hate you so much. Hang on. Oh, that's not good. That's a 5.
Oh boy. You're about 5 feet away from this girl. You've run across the road and down the dunes to the beach, and you're about to reach out and dive and grab her, and she disappears. A wave crashing over her and sweeping her out into the ocean. The board she was clinging to completely washed away. There's nothing you can do.
Fuck.
You turn around and head back to the inn. Thankfully, the owner hasn't locked up behind you, and you curl up in the corner with the remainder of your drink and wait out the storm. At some point, you must have miraculously fallen asleep. You think perhaps that the tavern keeper might have slipped something in your drink, seeing how shaken up you were. And there is also a blanket over you. And tucked under the edge of your glass is a single playing card with an address. Okay, so that's Peru. Moving on, we're gonna do Peter next.
Hello.
Hello. Peter, after kind of running away from Bard College, you've managed to pick up a few odd jobs here and there, and someone told you that there are immense treasures to be found in the town of Grimoire. So you traveled here, and it wasn't hard for you. After all, you have the letter from your guild promising that you are indeed a man of character. And it wasn't hard for a bard such as yourself to enter this kingdom. Now, being on the road that long has kind of worn your wallet a bit thin, So you picked up a part-time job at a tavern known as Molly's Mead Hall, and it's owned by a cheerful little gnome named Molly. You play here every weekend, so 3 nights at the end of the week. And people love you. You're very, very good at what you do, and often the drunkards don't know the difference between what money they've thrown at you and what money they're missing from their wallet at the end of the night.
Hey, what they don't know won't hurt them.
That's when you discover something else interesting. There's a man working here with you. His name is Wilhelm. He's kind of grizzled, a bit much older than you actually. And he runs the till at the bar. And one night when you were sweeping up your earnings for the day and putting your instrument away, you notice Wilhelm. He's tripped behind the bar, and from his pockets, coins have spilled out. And you know for a fact that there's no way Wilhelm's making that much money at this bar. You're quick to approach him and call him out on his bullshit. And the next day, you've already ratted him out to Molly. And he was promptly fired for slipping extra coin into his pocket from the till.
Scoundrel.
Mm-hmm. It's been about 6 months since then, and Wilhelm, he disappeared off the planet when he was fired. You're not quite sure where he went. But it's late, and it's actually a bit slower than usual. And a figure enters the bar, wearing a long trench coat, and you recognize that beard anywhere. He sits down in a corner and just stares at you. And he stares at you the entire night, ordering one drink but not drinking it. There's about 5 other patrons there, but you've definitely not made enough money tonight to cover the payment at the inn that you've needed to make for the past week. So you go looting, and after all, Wilhelm is your old buddy, right? He won't mind if you take a couple of that coin that Shirley's left over all these months later from when he just smuggled it out of the cash register. After all, it's probably somewhat rightfully yours. Can I have you roll a sleight of hand check?
Sure. 12.
12?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You managed to steal about 50 GP from his pocket.
Oh, Lord.
You're very impressed with the fact that he had this much on him. But you've cleaned it out also, so that might just be the only money he has. You're about to leave for the night. There's only you and what seems to be a lone patron. And Wilhelm. Just as you're about to step foot out the door, a knife flies past your face and embeds itself in the door. And then you turn and Wilhelm is inches from your face, his fist flying towards yours. I'm going to need you to make a dexterity saving throw.
I am proficient. 22.
Okay, you easily dodge away from his fist. After all, he's quite the burly man, and you're about half his size, so you easily dodge out of the way. And he turns around and takes another swing at you, this time with a knife in his other hand. Make another dex saving throw.
13.
13. You save again. You tuck and roll, and he stumbles forward a bit, yelling profanities at you.
Well, buddy, pal, this is about a month ago. Listen.
You ruined me! And he dives at you, like, animalistic, like, a look in his eyes, and I need you to make one more dexterity saving throw.
Listen, pal, it wasn't... I'm not saying it was me that told Molly.
You do not save this time.
Oh.
And he lunges at you, taking out your legs and tackling you to the ground. And you are prone. And because he had a dagger in his hand, he's actually nicked you. And quickly, I think it's 1d6, right, for a dagger?
1d4, actually.
1d4.
Oh, a d4? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me find a d4 in my bag. There's one. Oh, you take 4 points of damage.
Oh, joy.
That's okay. You don't need to record that. But you are bleeding now. Are you going to retaliate?
Yeah. I mean, I am. Yeah. Under the protection of the law and self-defense at this point. So yes, I will retaliate.
All right.
Pulling out a dagger of my own. I'm guessing roll to hit.
Yeah, roll to hit.
15?
15? Yes. He is not wearing any armor, so you easily swipe back at him.
Nice.
Roll damage.
Sure thing. 5.
5?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. He screams in pain and staggers off of you. And you notice that when he knocked you over, you dropped the bag of coin that you had just taken out of his bag, and he sees it and looks furious. You didn't think it was possible for him to get angry at you, then he already is, but hell hath no fury. He lunges at you one more time, and this time you see a strange magic emanating from the blade that he's holding.
Uh-oh.
Does 18 hit your armor class?
It does.
Alright. Oops, that is the wrong die. He deals 9 points of necrotic damage to you.
Choice.
And you are now... You feel a searing pain from the wound, which he has tactfully placed directly in your stomach. And it runs up your body, and it makes it feel like 1,000 needles are going into your skin. Do you retaliate?
Yeah, I sure fucking do retaliate. This time, however, I will pull out my rapier. I'm calling for bigger guns. So, 5, 18?
18? Yeah, you hit him.
And then I will roll for damage. However, one of my College of Whispers feats is Psychic Blade, which is I can expend one of my Bardic Inspiration die, deal an additional 2d6 of psychic damage to the target. So,
okay.
So it is. What comes up? So 4 regular damage and then 2d6. 4 physical damage, 8 psychic damage, for a total of 12.
Okay, he stumbles backwards from you and his back hits one of the posts in the middle of this tavern, and you see him clinging to his head and screaming, and he runs out of the bar like a maniac. And you're left bleeding on the ground. And as you're lying there, you begin to feel dizzier and dizzier, and the world kind of closes in around you, and you black out. But not before you feel someone's hand touch your shoulder. When you wake up, Molly is shaking you, and she's like, Peter! Peter, are you alright?
Oh, Molly. Oh, don't let anyone with a beard in this hall.
She kind of looks at you curiously and stands up, handing you your bag, and she's like, I think you dropped this. You should go home and get some rest. You look a little rough. Is that blood on your clothes?
No, it's from the spaghetti you made earlier. Don't worry about it. I take the bag back. Is it the coin pouch from earlier, or?
It's like a bag that you have with you to carry like your instrument, and yes, it has it still has the coins in it.
Hey.
She swept it in. She swept the contents of your bag back into it because you dropped it when he stabbed you.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just swept everything back into the bag. One thing you notice when you wake up is that you don't have any open wounds on you.
Oh.
There's no sign of the attack last night, except for the fact that your clothes are definitely blood-stained. And you leave to go home that night, tossing the bag of coins to the innkeeper that you've been meaning to pay for the last week.
Mm-hmm.
And you collapse in your bed, checking the contents of your bag to find your instrument and a single playing card with an address on it.
That's nothing.
So that's Peter. Who do we have left? Just Val, right?
Hell yeah.
Alright. Gonna give you a slight disclaimer, sorry. This one is not quite as in-depth because
It's fine.
I didn't get a lot of backstory from you for a while.
It's fine.
But it's fine.
It's fine.
It is.
It's fine.
Okay. So, it's been a few months. Well, maybe even years since you left your, what would you call them? A guild?
I mean, if that's what you want to call them. Not what I was thinking, but that's
Well,
fine.
what were you thinking?
Just kind of like some performers that travel together and they kind of just stuck together because that's their family and that's all they've really known.
Okay. So I'll call it like a troupe instead of a guild. Guilds tend to have a bit more like structure to them, and they have like established guild halls place to place, but you guys just kind of seem like, dare I say, like a band of gypsies almost. Yeah, it's been years since you've left them, I believe, correct? I'm sorry. How long, you tell me, how long has it been since you left them?
It's a few years, you know.
A few years? Okay.
Enough time to get over certain things.
Okay. You actually tagged along with a guild of actors. They're not the kind of entertainers you're used to, obviously. They put on plays from town to town, and honestly, they're a bit snobby. but they were willing to house you, and that's all you could possibly ask from them. In return, you were their intermission. You put on your acts of playing with fire and devouring it for crowds of people who, while they didn't quite come for such a fantastic display, were usually amazed by your ability to control the element. You also got to know some of the bards that they were traveling with. They're the ones who played music for the actors as they performed. And while you could see them as friends, they were never really warm to you. It's kind of like they saw you as temporary when they were traveling with you.
Reasonable.
So when they get to Grimoire and they put on their play, you decide to stay. After all, this town has plenty of people, and from what you've heard on this isolated nation, this is the busiest city that you're going to come across for miles. So you spend your days here, performing in the streets. Not in a unglorified way or anything like that. In fact, people talk about you a lot. What kind of performance do you put on?
Right now?
Yeah. There's a crowd gathered around you, and they're waiting.
I guess the usual, do some fire dancing, eat the fire I'm dancing with.
Are you able to shape the fire at all?
Shape it?
Yeah, can you actually manipulate the fire, or is it more like this is just a talent that you've picked up, it's not magical?
I probably could, because I'm a wizard. But I use wizard magic. So it's possible, yeah.
Okay. Describe it. Take me to this show. What am I watching? Is it just the fire?
What do you mean by just the fire?
Does she play music and have fire dance around her? Does she play music and then do fire tricks? Does she ever do readings for the crowd from her deck of cards?
She can do readings. Usually before she starts with the fire. But I think when she dances with fire, it's more of she has, I don't know what to call them, but she's holding things with fire on it, so she doesn't have hands to be like, oh yeah, magic fire, and then doing some other shit.
Okay.
But I think with some concentration, she could make the fire look like some, I guess we can say, deer, fantasy deer, whatever you...
I mean, deer exists in this world, yes.
Cool.
So if you want to look like a deer, you can.
So we we make animals and we do cool stuff with our fire, and then we eat the fire.
Okay. So you're up there doing your thing, dancing with fire and swallowing it whole, and the crowd is mesmerized. They're applauding for you loudly, and you feel very satisfied with yourself as the little box that you've set out in front of you begins to fill with money.
Nice. Love the sound of money falling into the box.
You hear a loud thud hit the box, and you are surprised momentarily before you continue your act, and you watch as a cloaked figure disappears into the back of the crowd, and you lose sight of him completely. At the end, you're cleaning up your supplies, and the crowd is slowly dispersing, and a couple kids run up to you and ask you to tell them about their future.
Okay.
What do you tell them? It's just 3 little kids.
I tell them that I don't know anything about fucking reading people's cards.
They're children?
Yeah, I'm gonna be
So-
like, hey, y'all are gonna be great, and y'all are gonna be happy, and some cool things are coming your way.
One of the kids says, "Will I be rich?"
Sure.
Nice. And he kind of looks smug to the other kids who scrunch up their nose. It's 2 girls, and you kind of can tell by the looks, by their appearances, that they're probably all siblings. And they chase him off back into the crowd. And as you are emptying this box of money into the pouch that you use to carry your coin, you hear that thud again hit the bottom of your bag. And you reach in, and there is an elaborate coin purse type thing.
Is he thick?
Yeah, it's heavy. And it's got embroidery on it that seems to be real gold. You've never seen something this luxurious in your life. And you open it,
Shook.
and there's a crystal ball. There's not coin.
Cool. Okay.
And attached to that crystal ball, tucked under it to the side of the bag, is a tag. And it's just a single playing card with an address. Okay. So that's everybody's introduction. When all of you meet up at this point, you are greeted by a rather, how would I describe him, eccentric young man he literally only seems to be in his 20s. He's definitely not what you expected to be greeted by. The place that you meet at is an inn that has been closed down in this town for quite some time. In fact, some of you almost turned back when you first encountered it, and you peeked in the window and saw him sitting there alone, just surrounded by empty chairs and empty tables and nobody else. But as you entered, he led you to the back where... no. He led you to the back where he conjures a door out of nowhere and leads you down it. He's quite the charismatic person, so you follow. After all, your curiosity is getting the better of you. And he's promised you a reward if you follow. And even sweetened the deal a little bit by handing over your first payment. A hefty bag of 200 GP.
Is that 200 each or divided among?
200 each. Everyone gets 200 GP.
Whoa. Yeah.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I love money.
Alright. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
He explains to each of you, and let me first say that this is not happening simultaneously. You are not in a orientation style group tour. Each of you kind of filtered in at different times. Some of you arrived a week later, some of you arrived the day after you received your card. Gunby, for sure, left the next morning to find what this address was. And now, we're still not in present time. He's sitting across from all of you at a round table. The only way you can tell he's the head of it is because his chair is much bigger and more luxurious than the rest of yours. Almost like a throne. And he's wearing a mask. And he never removes it. It's simple, 1/2 black, 1/2 white. Embellished with tiny little spades on either side. And he explains to you what the Court of Spades is. And he fills in some of those gaps that, Gunby, you've been searching for since you got here. And everyone else, you've heard whispers of it, rumors of it, but it's such old information now, nobody really talks about it. He tells you of a great war, where a band of rogue sorcerers, known as the Scarlet. Oh, I think I cut out. The Scarlet Scourge. Reigned terror on these lands. It was once one united kingdom of Althane. But when this rogue band of sorcerers entered this realm, they brought with them dark magic that no one before had ever encountered. This is why nobody goes to the Evermore. There lies the ruins of the castle of Althane that once stood proud over these lands, and now lies desolate, overgrown with wild brush, dense forests, uneven terrain, and danger that you can't even begin to fathom. It was then that the kingdoms broke up into 4 individual kingdoms, shutting themselves off from the world, afraid of inviting strangers back into their midst, out of fear that someone from this leftover cult would come back for them. They had to rebuild. And when they did, the rulers who were elected needed some way to ensure that criminals would never rise to this kind of power again. Of course, there's a limit to what a soldier can do. They're lawful. They have to stay within the command of the law. They can't go off on missions. They can't be sent to spy or even break and enter sometimes if it calls for it. But those that could, those that lurked in the shadows, pickpocketing for spare change and swindling people out of magical items or whatever they may be causing trouble through. These are people that could be paid off. After all, if the kingdom left nothing more than the wealth that it once held, that was all that was needed to rebuild. That was all that was needed for these rulers to enlist the help of the courts. There are 4 branches: spades, diamonds, hearts, and the other one, clubs. My fucking brain died. You are introduced to the Court of Spades. This is the Grimoire branch of these courts. And the Queen, ever so graciously, has promised access to her deepest treasury, full of the gems that the dwarves of Ironforge send in buckets to this kingdom. This is what tempts you. This promise of fortune beyond compare, but it's lacking the usual fame that comes with that kind of greed. In fact, when you sign onto this agreement, you sign away your identity. No one can know that you are a part of this. No one can know who you are anymore. You must become a nameless, faceless member of this community, leaving no trace behind. And that's what you agree to when you sign the contract. He shelters you. You live here now. What he sent you to through this magical door was essentially an underground castle, almost? Not a castle, that's a bit too lavish, but it's the kind of establishment you'd see a noble living in. It's decked out. Yeah, a fortress is a good word for it. It's completely underground. There's no sunlight coming in, but you don't really need it because the walls are illuminated with a bright blue-white flame, and it's always full of life in here, which is not unusual for a band of miscreants. And after a month of training, where you didn't quite leave the fortress more often, more than to, scope out some curious situations, stop some petty theft that you seemed to possibly be spiraling towards a conspiracy of people, but in the end they didn't have the backbone to hold up against you. And now Ace has called you for the first time to a place outside of the headquarters. He's called you, as I said, to the Serpent Shield, where we find you now. It's been about a month since he recruited you, and as you were told, your entire party is sitting at different tables, scattered throughout this tavern, not quite associating with each other, although Marin and Nyx are sharing a booth. And that's when you hear a familiar voice boom from the entrance. Alright, loves. Who's gonna buy me a drink?
Marin's already holding up money.
Nyx is also holding up money, and the rest of you recognize this as the signal, which is a bit less subtle than you expected it to be. And each of you hold up the money that Ace had given you in advance. to offer him a drink. He smiles a kind of crooked smile, and he waves you all towards a booth that's in the back and goes, "This is my seat, my special reserved seat. Join me if you're willing to spare a few GP on little old me." Abel, who is the female halfling who owns this inn, rolls her eyes at Ace's entrance and walks over and just puts an entire, lays down 4 bottles of alcohol on the table with enough glasses for all of you. And then when she disappears, you notice her pull a thread and a velvet curtain falls between you and the rest of the tavern, and you notice that you can't hear the commotion coming from outside anymore. It seems that there's some kind of enchantment on this booth to make it soundproof and private. And Ace is now sitting with you guys all at this table, and as he looks around you, he kind of his smile is still there, but it's a bit more tight, like he's thinking of something. And he leans back and pops open the bottle and pours himself a drink and says, "I'm sure you have all heard the news.
Which news in particular?
He quirks an eyebrow at you, Peter, and looks around. "You're telling me none of you have heard? It's practically the only thing everyone in Grimoire's talking about."
Listen, a lot of words passed through. But please,
Now,
go on.
I realize you quite literally have been living under a rock this past month, but you sure let a lot past you, don't you?
I slept in today.
Yeah, I kind of crashed too. What exactly are you talking about? And he rolls his eyes and slaps a newspaper down on the table. And in big font you see, "The circus is in town," with a question mark at the end.
Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. He rolls his eyes and slaps a newspaper down in the middle of the table and spreads it out for everyone to see, and in big letters on the headline says, "The circus has come to town."
Ooh.
There's a sketch below it depicting a large tent with a huge iron gate surrounding it, and you can kind of see there's indications of other smaller tents around this large tent, but engraved on the gate is something scrawled in Elvish. Can anybody read Elvish?
I can read Elvish.
I sure can.
I think I can too.
You definitely can, Gunby. It's your specialty.
True.
Alright, for those of you that can read Elvish, let me quickly check to see if Nyx can read Elvish. No, he cannot. You see the word Isalka and Dai, which translates roughly in common the dance of shadow. And Ace slams his hand down and goes, This is what I'm talking about. The circus? You haven't heard? If anyone wants to make a... I don't want to say history, Maybe just an intelligence check? I don't know. What do you guys... What should I have you roll to know if you have heard anything about this?
I think maybe just straight intelligence.
Just
maybe
intelligence?
insight, like, word of mouth.
Well, insight is more, it's more like interpreting body language and insight on
Okay.
something in particular.
Investigation?
Yeah, let's roll investigation. We'll say previously you would call this investigating as part of your work in the Court of Spades is to kind of pick up rumors that have been going around town and know kind of what the local buzz is. Clearly, some of you have been slacking on that. You got a 7. Peter's one of the people who has been slacking on that.
Listen.
I got a 21.
Alright. Marin, Peru,
18.
18. Peru. Hello? Maybe not here. Gunby?
1 second.
Okay.
Wait, which one is it again?
You're just rolling a d20 and you're adding your
Adding our what?
investigation.
Oh god.
It's one of your skills. It should be your intelligence modifier, and if you're proficient in it, your proficiency bonus.
Okay, well, I got a 6, so that's cool.
Okay. I'm going to hold on for one quick second while...
Oh, wait, no, a 7. Never mind.
Still not very good.
Mm-mm.
Can you hear me, Zale? If you're talking, I can't hear you. You might want to restart Discord, my friend. Yeah, I can't. That's what I thought. Alright, I'll give him a recap of what happens when he comes back. But, Marin, you rolled an 18, right?
Yes.
Okay, and Val rolled a 21. So, the two of you have heard of this. You just didn't really understand what Ace was talking about at first because Ace tends to just kind of throw information at you sometimes, and it's hard to tell what he's always talking about. Hello, I can hear you now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Alright. You have also heard of this circus. You, Val, and Marin have... people have been whispering about it, but it's only been for like a couple days, so it's kind of surprising that he expected you to know about this so fervently. They've only been talking about it for like 2 days now, but you know that overnight one night, there was a relatively unusual storm. It wasn't raining, but the winds were intense and there was purple lightning streaking through the sky. It kind of terrified everyone. They thought maybe something darker was at large, but nothing happened. No damage was done. Everyone was safe, and since it didn't rain, nothing flooded. So the next morning, when there is part of the malicious job of these kingdoms is to go out on a patrol to kind of check on the merchant paths that connect everything to make sure that everyone's traveling safely. Like, usually if a merchant is traveling from one town to the next instead of just entering, they are escorted by a couple members of the origin town's militia. It's basically like a border patrol, kind of, to make sure that nobody dangerous is entering the fray or nobody unregistered is entering. That's the thing, is like when you guys entered this kingdom, you were registered to their census. Like, they took you into count of the population, and when you signed on with the courts, you guys were erased from that census. The only people who know that you are members of this are the queen and her kind of inner circle. And that's it. Those are the only people that know you as residents. Everyone else kind of, since you guys only show your faces infrequently and are hardly ever heard from, they just kind of assume that you're merchants that have been occasionally passing through. But you don't really have any connections to the people here. But what you have heard is that after that storm, one of the morning patrols went out, and a band of merchants reported seeing a circus popped up in the middle of the Evermore, smack dab on top of the ruins of the old castle. This is unheard of, not only because nobody goes there, it's so unpredictable, everything that goes on there, that it would be a suicide mission just to go there, especially on your own. But it's not really a place to sustain a business, let alone one that needs an audience. It's salted earth. Nothing can be grown there. Nothing can be started there. Nobody can live there. It goes against everything you know about the Evermore to hear that this business, this massive tent, has suddenly set up shop with no word to the outside world. Ace kind of taps the paper and takes a swig of his drink, and he says, "Oh, Queenie told me they sent out a few soldiers to..." Oh, wow, that was southern. Few soldiers to investigate, and listen to this. They're claiming... Wow, I completely lost the accent. I need to talk OOC in the accent. They're claiming immunity under the laws of the merchants, because I guess a traveling circus is technically a merchant, but they don't want to come into town. What do you all make of this?
Well, surely they're hiding something if they are using merchant regulations as defense. And I'm assuming they don't want to come, probably not to get, what's the word I'm looking for? Get involved with local regulations. I guess if they're out in the open, the less regulations and laws they have to deal with, the better.
I like the way you think with what you said about hiding something. Wow. That's exactly what I thought. It's gonna take me some getting used to this accent, so bear with me. And you know, that's exactly what our queen thought. So, we have a job. And specifically, you all have a job. I know you're probably sick and tired of being our errand boys, so to say. So I think it's about time you got a little field work action. What do you say?
Well, it's about time. I didn't get our feet wet. You guys have barely told us anything about you guys so far, but by all means, that's what we gotta do.
Us, like all of us together?
Yup. You're
Hi.
going in as a family.
Right.
You see, the only people foolish enough to wander into the Evermore are parties of foolish adventurers looking for something. So, it's easy enough to pull you off as just another wandering party looking for something to do.
That's fair enough. Do we know what the Dance of Shadows is? And I point at the picture on the newspaper.
Oh, that's what that says.
Can you not read Elvish?
No, I can't. Listen, I wasn't formally educated.
It's okay, I dropped out of college. So don't worry about that, pal.
No one ever talked to me. My dad talked to me in Infernal.
I know,
That's about it.
I still picked up Infernal off of you.
I know, but you don't exactly talk to me in Elvish, Marin.
That's fair.
Yeah, I just think that's the kind of ambiguous title you're gonna get from a mysterious circus, you know? Dance of Shadows. It's like they're trying to be mysterious or intimidating or something. But I guess it's
Right.
working.
You know how elves are, am I right, guys? Looks like Gumby. Yeah, wait. Confusingly looks. I didn't mean that by any offense, of course.
No, fuck elves.
Yeah, fuck elves.
Excuse me.
Don't worry about it, pal. Listen, none of us have anything against elves here, okay? Right. Looks back at the other two.
Speak for yourself.
Anyways.
Alright. Let's not fight amongst ourselves here. Gunby, I love elves.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not an elf, but thanks.
No, but I'm familiar with your background. We don't have any elves in this party, do we?
Nope.
Not a single one of us.
We have me. But,
Yeah, you're a half elf.
fuck elves.
But fuck elves, actually. So, Ace kind of brings out a pouch that because he has like a little messenger bag with him, and he reaches in and spreads out. Let's see, how many of this are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 stone pendants. They have like a typical crystal shape dangling from them, but the stone is like a deep blue color. And it almost seems like it has the stars in it. If anyone wants to make a nature check, or actually an arcana check, see if you know what this is. You can.
Let me add 'em.
Okay.
Let's see.
Do it.
Ooh!
20.
How about 22?
11.
Twins.
Twins.
Peter, your rolls. This is why most of the party opts out of Aviary, because it's so shitty at rolling half the time. You can roll physical dice if you want to at any time.
It's not bad,
Peru.
mine at home, but it'll don't worry about it.
Okay, Peru, you know nothing about this. You don't even recognize it as a magical artifact. You just think it's a rock on a chain. This is what they look like. I'm putting it in our chat.
I see.
Sweet.
Like those.
The two of you that rolled high. Oh, the three of you that rolled 21 apparently, or 22.
Zale, you're echoing a little.
Oh yeah.
Hang on.
So for those of
Better or
you,
worse.
I cannot hear myself, so better.
Okay.
What did you roll? Oh, nat 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So the three of you that rolled high, you guys recognize these as they're made of goldstone, which it actually isn't a type of gem, which you expected it to be a type of gem because that's kind of the industry here, but these are actually man-made glass that is made to look like a crystal. And you guys rolled Arcana checks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
so you can recognize that Peter, you know that these are enchanted in some way, but you don't recognize the trick. But Marin, Val, and Gunby, you guys are very familiar with the fact that these are a communication device. And Ace kind of distributes them, and he's like, these are for keeping in contact. I've got one myself. He pulls it out from under his shirt, and his is actually like a different color. It's a kind of reddish orange color. But otherwise it's the same kind of stone, like it has the little star pattern in it. And he goes, this is what you're gonna use to communicate with me when you're on the inside. And I can't really tell you much else, because no one has any idea what's going on in there. They haven't opened their doors. So, we're gonna wait. Hopefully they open, but if they don't, walls are no obstacle. We'll find out what's in there sooner or later. But I thought we'd meet here so that you could kind of get to know each other in a more relaxed environment. Have a drink, everyone. It's not just for me, even though I insinuated that it was. And he pops open another 3 corks on all of these drink bottles and just kind of pushes them towards everyone's direction. Nyx picks up a bottle and pours it into his
Peter down the
goblet.
shot.
He downs a shot.
Immediately.
And Nyx offers it to Marin.
Yeah, I take it.
Okay. He pours it into your glass, and he starts sipping it. But he kind of makes like a crinkled up note, like his nose crinkles a little, like he doesn't like it very much.
Marin, on the other hand, downs literally half of his drink in one go.
This is alcohol?
Yes, it is. It is mead.
It's the devil's juice.
Hey, can I get some water? You know, this shit's kind of flammable.
Peter just looks at him like,
yeah, Gun. Can I get some apple juice? Gubby, you're gonna have to. This is now an audio-based entertainment. You're gonna have to speak up for what you want, my boy.
No.
Is Gunby partaking in the alcohol?
No. Can I get
no.
me some apple juice?
How old is Gunby?
Like 17.
Oh.
He needs some milk.
Right, that slipped to my mind.
It's fantasy.
Let me see if I can do this.
Bunch of
Before I
children
do.
you are, he says, one that actually physically looks like a child at barely 4 feet tall. You're not echoing anymore, you're good.
No, yeah, I don't hear it. I don't know what exactly this is called, but it's funny. Ace snaps his fingers, and the goblet in front of you that he has filled for both you, Val, and Gumby turns into. Well, I guess for Val it turns into water, and for Gunby it turns into milk. You, no, not the School of Magic. I was looking for the spell, but I'm not going to be specific about it. He just does it, because he's Ace. And, he goes, Valtyra, is it Valtyra or Valtira? Valtira, okay. Valtira, he's like, you worried about setting some booze alight? Are you not in control of your own abilities?
Oh no, yeah, it just, you know, it makes me feel a little, gross after.
Oh, alright, to each their own.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Tonight I want you all to go down to the local shop. You know, what's it called? Elin's Emporium. Out there in the middle of town. I want you to stop by there. Elin is a good friend of mine. He'll get you some things before you set off towards this place, and hopefully tomorrow it's opened. No. You all have you all have the payment I gave you at the beginning. And whatever funds you had left over from your previous lives. So, I'm going to assume you're well off. And, if you have any questions for me, now's the time to ask, cause, well, truthfully, I'm going out of town for days, so...
So you just want us to investigate the carnival. You don't want us to necessarily
Yes.
get involved with anything. Just we're more or less reconnaissance.
Yes. We are not cleared to engage in any kind of confrontation with the owners of this establishment, because they haven't given any indication of actually being a danger. So, yes, this is a reconnaissance mission. We just need information right now.
Is there anything specific you're looking for?
Anything you can give me. Let's see. I'd like to know who's running it. I'd like to know what the business is. And I'd like to know, what they plan on doing. Maybe you should inform them that where they've set up isn't exactly the most successful area. And also, they need to formally apply for a permit to be considered a merchant. That's about it. Got it?
Sounds about good to me. I'll try my best now. Get my hands dirty in this one.
Yes, I know we're not all from the best of backgrounds, myself included, but you know, that's... Well, I wasn't exactly talking about you, love, but some of us didn't make an honest living before this. Now...
Listen, my official occupation was tavern bar, okay? I like to think that's a pretty respectable occupation.
Yeah, come on.
Peter, if you're
I'm
being
not
honest...
that bad.
Well...
Listen, I've only gotten stabbed 3 times on 3 different occasions on the job, okay? Only 3, alright?
Wow.
Peter... I'm gonna be blunt. You had a glorified part-time job, my boy, and the coin you came into our establishment with was certainly more than what Molly pays, so...
And that's why I'm here now.
That's why...
All about wherever the coin falls.
Listen, I have nothing against you for it. That's why I recruited you. That and you, you showed some pluck considering, your stature and the size of the man I saw drive out of the bar that night.
Oh, you were there?
Mm-hmm.
That was a long.
You got my calling card.
I sure did.
You just make that connection now.
That was you. I gotta say, you're stitch worded really well. I hardly see it in here.
Oh yeah, I used magic.
Well, everyone's gotta have a quirk now, huh? But anyway, I digress. Out of character real quick, you said that you wanted us to a shop. I missed that part slightly.
Yeah, he wants you guys tonight to cause he's called you here, but it's only like 6 p.m.
Day drinking.
Yeah. Well, 6 p.m. isn't day
6
drinking.
p.m. Happy hours like 5.
Yeah, it's after 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Somewhere, at least.
We're after happy hour. It's fine.
The sun is setting, but it's not dark yet.
Is this place still gonna be open tonight?
Yeah, are you asking me or are you asking Ace?
I guess I'm asking the DM, but I can ask in character if you'd like me to.
Yeah, sure, ask Ace.
Okay. Alright, well, you want us to go to this emporium, but is it still going to be open?
Oh yes. As I said, Elin and I, we have some history together, so you just flash that card I gave you all, and she'll know. She'll open her doors to you. Nyx kind of like shuffles in his seat a little, and he's like, Is this dangerous in any sense? I mean, not that I'm not scared or anything, but I mean, it seems like we're kind of rushing in and taking a shot in the dark. I mean, I didn't roll to see if I know about this place. Give me a second. I know shit. I don't know shit about this place.
Shit.
Marin told me some secondhand information, but it seems like this place appeared from that storm the other week, right? That's what people are saying. And Ace kind of like tilts his head back and forth, and he's like, if you want to make assumptions, I guess you could say that yes, that ominous storm from the other night was what brought in this circus, but I mean, like I said, we don't have any kind of confirmation on any of that information. It's all just rumors at this point, so it's our job to put some concrete evidence behind those rumors before we involve the authorities, or handle it ourselves, depending. And Nyx kind of looks at Marin to see if he has any kind of input on this is a good idea.
Marin like shifts his hand a little bit, and points at Nyx, and his mouth seems to be moving, but no words come out. I'm PMing you.
Okay, that's what I was waiting for. Nyx makes direct eye contact with Marin, and they just kind of... They're like staring at each other and mouthing words to each other, but the rest of the party has no idea what's going on. They've seen them do this a couple times, but it's still kind of freaky.
Peter, thinking to himself, is he drunk already? Looks back at my glass. How much did I drink?
I guess like Peru is kind of just like watching them curiously, but like he's not like saying anything about it.
Ace is just kind of sipping his drink, and he does it sometimes in an obnoxious way where he like downs the whole glass and he goes at the end of it with like satisfaction before pouring himself another drink, and he's starting to look a bit pink in the cheeks.
Peru has not touched his drink this whole time. I think it should be noted.
Okay. Okay, Nyx nods and looks a bit more relaxed and turns away from Marin and takes a sip of his drink. And Ace kind of quirks an eyebrow at them, and he's like, you guys really like doing that freaky mind shit, huh?
It's not like you're adverse to magic yourself.
True, but I also don't hide secrets from my friends. And he, like, kind of...
What?
He said... Oops, sorry, I crushed
No,
my...
I just didn't hear what you said after.
Oh, he wiggles his eyebrows, like, teasingly, because he's a little drunk right now. Not drunk, but, like, tipsy and buzzed.
Marin winks at him. And just grins, and then finishes his drink.
Ace chuckles, and he's like, well, on that note, if that's all you have to ask of me, I'm going to head out. I have some packing to do.
And we, you said that we'll be able to communicate with you through these, or no, you said, hold on. Did you say we could communicate with him through the crystals? Or...
Yes, the crystals are communication devices.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be in touch. Anything peculiar going on at this carnival. Never been much fun with carnies myself.
Rude.
Yeah, Nyx kind of frowns when you say that. And he goes, hey, we were carnies once.
Oh, there's something wrong with the profession. I'm just saying that I knew a few carnies back. They were quite eccentric. So.
Well,
Marin shrugs.
Can't argue that. And Nyx puts the pendant on, and there's like little detail in the oh, one last thing. Ace suddenly like realizes and reaches into his bag and slaps masks on the table, and they're just solid black masks. They don't really look like any... They're not as... His mask has, like, kind of intricate detailing on it. Now that you have seen it up close before, you notice that it's kind of like... There's almost like a subtle checker pattern to it. Like, some of it's glossy and some of it's matte. It's also lined with a gold trim. These ones are just like a black fabric mask with a black spade sewn into it with embroidery. So it doesn't stand out a lot on the mask. But it's there as an indicator to people who might be looking for it in the future. He goes, these off if you come in contact with somebody and you are going to have a face-to-face interaction. We want you to be as protected as we can have you, and one of those ways is concealing your identity. So wear these if you plan on approaching people, and if they ask you to take it off, refuse and kindly walk away. There's not much I can say. We're not trying to cause trouble right here, and we don't want you drawing any attention. So it won't be super unusual, seeing as it is a circus.
DM question.
Yep.
Do they cover just the eyes, or do they cover more of the face than that?
They cover the eyes, but like it's enough to basically when you wear it, it kind of like shadows. Especially if you're wearing like a cloak. If you were wearing a cloak combined with this mask, because it's black, it would pretty much shadow the top half of your face. Like a hood.
Okay.
It's like a half mask, right?
Yeah, it's a half mask. You don't have to wear it constantly, because obviously if you're just wandering around, people aren't going to notice you anyway, but if you are directly speaking to someone, he wants you to wear them, so that they don't, like, so that the person you're talking to couldn't recognize you in a crowd. Like, he doesn't want you making connections with the people here. So, with that, he finishes off the bottle that was in front of him, rises up, and he goes, "Oh, another thing. Take Jack with you. He's been holed up, for a couple months now, so I think that kid needs to stretch his legs a bit." And with that, he kind of gestures to have you scoot out, and Nick stands up because he's on the end of the booth. It's like a circle type thing, and he was sitting in the middle of it, so he's shooing 3 of you off so that he can exit.
Okay, yeah, Marin gets up.
And he pulls the curtain, and he leaves. And you notice that he definitely has not paid for this alcohol.
Of course.
Can I say something to him before he leaves?
Oh yeah. When he walks past you, go for it.
Ace.
What did you say?
I said Ace.
Oh, Ace. Yes?
Ooh.
Oh.
There we go.
Ooh,
Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Oh, Discord.
But he said yes when you said his name.
If you get bored with packing, I could always use some extra coin.
He, smirks and kinda pats your shoulder, and he goes, "I'll think about it." He kind of says it though in a way that you kind of tell that he probably won't come calling, but he's humoring you. And then he exits, leaving the curtain drawn, and on the other side is the little halfling who runs the tavern, Abel, and she's standing there with her foot tapping and an eyebrow raised.
Marin's like grinning ear to ear because he knows Ace won't. He's just fucking with him.
Alright. Expenses. Let's see. How much?
Boy.
Also,
Yes.
do I get 200 on top of the,
No, that's factored into what I told you.
Okay, that's what I figured.
I will establish that at the end of this session, which might be soonish. I'm gonna have you guys go to the magic shop, and then I'm gonna end it.
Magic shop.
But these this wine is fine wine, and it costs 10 GP a bottle.
Jesus.
So you
God
guys owe 40 GP for Ace.
Well, I
Haru looks pointedly at everybody else because he did not drink anything.
I drank water.
And Gunby drank milk, so Nyx kinda digs into his pouch and produces Peter.
Yeah.
He produces 15 GP and looks at Peter and he goes, oh wait, hold on, wait. That's 40 GP. No, he produces.
There's 4 of us left here now because 2 people, so there's 6. Yeah, so I guess
3 people did not drink, so it's split between 3 of us. So that's about 13 GP each, and Marin holds out, or not Marin, sorry. I'm gonna do that a lot. Nyx holds out 14 GP because he's willing to cover the extra unaccounted for gold piece.
Marin pulls out 13.
He throws out his 13 as well.
Alright. Nyx sweeps it up and hands it to the lady, and Abel kind of shakes her head and she goes, now, what are a bunch of nice kids like you doing with a scoundrel like Ace?
Kids? I'll have you know.
You have a question?
No.
Okay, go ahead, Peter.
I have you that I am no child. But anyways, so do you know which way it is to the old magic shop here? What was the name of the store again? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's called like I can't even remember. It's called Elin's Emporium.
Elin's Emporium. You wouldn't happen to know which way to Emporium, would you?
I believe that's a little ways past the fountain in the center of town. It should be in that little plaza there where most of the shops are set up.
Much obliged. Absolutely.
And she frowns when you hand her 40 GP because nobody tipped her.
Prue hands her 10 GP.
She smiles at Prue and she goes, Good kids. It's a shame. And she pockets it and turns away. Did my milk? Your milk did not cost anything because
it was fabricated of magic.
Ace changed it into milk, so it was still part of the cost of the 4 bottles of alcohol. But yeah, so if you guys want, you can head over to Elin's shop.
Yeah, okay.
Let's
We
Alright.
do that.
magic shit.
Yes, please. Yes. Alright. You guys make your way to the center of town. There's a large fountain marking the center square, which is basically like there's a wide expanse of just kind of open stone, like cobbled stone. It's like a plaza type thing because a bunch of merchants are set up and they are like yelling, they're haggling for hoping that people will stop by their little setups and purchase something. There's a couple of food vendors, there's a couple of jewelers, there's a little troupe of performers that are giving a musical performance in front of a little crowd. And with a quick look around, I guess everyone make like a perception check.
Perception?
Yeah.
Also 19.
Critical. Nat 20.
Okay. Oh.
14.
Okay. And I got a 12.
I got a 5.
Okay. Gunby seems to be distracted by the performers, and also he's kind of eyeing up one of the because they are selling what they claim to be lost scrolls. Basically, like long lost information that they are selling at their articles booth. But who rolled decently?
I rolled that 20.
I got a 14.
19.
14, 19 for Peru, 19 for Val. What were you?
Hmm?
What was your roll, Peter?
Oh, a nat 20.
Oh, nat 20. All right. Well, Peter, then you find it almost immediately. It's
Well, we asked for directions.
yeah. Everyone else is kind of also like Marin and Val and Peru. All of you also spot it right away. It's kind of only Gunby and Nyx. Nyx is he's kind of shifting uncomfortable because of he's not one to enjoy being in a large crowded area of people. And yeah, as I said, Gunby is distracted by the promise of potential new information. But you spot it almost instantly, Peter. Across the way a little bit, there is a small magic shop with Elan's Emporium painted on the window in a cute gold swirly font over a hand holding a wand. It's not lit up right now, though, and as you exited the tavern, you notice that it's about 7:30, so it's getting to be evening, and it's getting darker, and the plaza is lit up by lanterns already. So yeah, you guys make your way into this shop, and when you enter, actually, you try to enter and it's locked. So someone want to knock on the door?
Yeah,
Knock knock.
All right, Peter. Peter will knock because he is the one who first spotted it.
How do you knock?
No, we're not doing that. Not in this campaign. You knock and a tiny slot, like there's like a slot and it opens and you see two bright green eyes peering at you through big round spectacles. And it's right at your eye level.
Oh, for me?
Yep, right at your eye level.
Some nice green eyes.
And she goes, we're closed.
Oh, you can't spare one more customer today? Or, I guess, 6.
You can come back tomorrow if you want, but I closed up shop for today.
I pull out my card and like hold it up to the slot.
You hear her go, oh, one moment. And she shuts the thing and you hear like a bunch of locks being undone. like an unusual amount of locks being undone. And she opens the door and there before you is a tiny female halfling. And she's kind of got her hair up in a big, crazy scatter bun with like little pins sticking out of it. And she's wearing a dark green apron and a small dress that has like mushrooms all over it, like a mushroom pattern all over it. And she looks rather young, but her name tag on her apron says Elin. And she kind of waves you in and she's like, come in. I didn't realize that Ace had sent you.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, we apologize for coming a bit late for the evening.
It's okay. I'm used to Ace sending late callers. just 1 second.
And she closes the door behind you and redoes the locks. And then she closes the curtains on her window and pulls a wand out of her bun and casts it at the ceiling, and a lamp lights up and illuminates the whole room. And now you can see everything that's in here. Does anyone make a perception check?
I would love to.
All
I
right.
will as well.
What are we rolling again? I'm sorry.
We're rolling perception.
Oh, okay.
11? Okay.
I also got an 11.
Okay.
9.
Okay. 11. I got a 19.
23.
Oh no, I didn't get a 19. I got 17. 23. Okay. That's everyone. Oh, what did Gumby roll? It's okay. Can you roll a perception check for me? An 8. Okay, so. Yeah, real good rolls for Gunby. So, for the people who rolled high, so Nick's actually got a fairly decent roll. What was yours, Val? Okay, 11. Yeah, that's not great. Prue.
Also 11.
Also 11. Right, 11. Peter got a 9. Marin and Nyx are the only people. So for the people who got 11s, okay. Peter, you're too kind of fixated on how odd Elin kind of looks, and you're also happy to see another halfling. So you're not really looking around too much. You're kind of chatting away with her, and she's doing her best to hold a conversation with you. But Peru and Val, Gunby, you're also interested in you, Elin. You actually are just kind of surprised to see halflings because they're not too common around here. So you're listening in on their conversation, just like standing there. And for the people who rolled 11s, you guys can see now that this is definitely like a magic wares shop. Like, he didn't send you here for weapons or like any kind of armor, really. This is like kind of an oddities shop. So it's selling like little trinkets and stuff like that. You don't really recognize any of what is in here. But you're curious to see if there's anything that catches your eye.
Sorry, Discord crashed on me.
Oh, that's okay. Nyx spots the potion, Zale, you're echoing it.
Sorry.
It's okay. Just like, yeah, just mute when you're not actively talking, it's fine. Nyx is drawn to a selection of potions that she has on display in a glass cabinet. It seems that she has a few available for healing. She has a few that are, like, kind of short-term skill boosters. And he is studying those. Marin, you start kind of keenly shuffling through some of the artifacts that she has. Most of them are protected behind glass, so you can't actually hold them. It's almost kind of set up like a jeweler's shop, so everything is in a protective case. But you are taken by a display of rings. There are 3 rings on display, and if you want to make an Arcana check, you might be able to tell what kind of magic.
Absolutely. Not bad. That is 17.
17? Okay. You recognize one of the rings. You've seen it before because it actually has been, it's not a completely rare, possession, but it is typically fairly expensive, because it is a ring of minor spell storing, and you know that this can hold an extra spell slot for you.
Ooh. Do I know what level?
Let me see. Real quick. Oh wait, did I read this wrong? It holds up to 3 levels of spells.
Just 1 slot?
Oops. Wait, 1 second. Yeah, it is. It is. Oh, actually, hold on 1 second. It's basic. Yeah, so what this does is, like, you can imbue it with a spell, essentially. So, it's basically like, instead of expending a spell slot, you expend the charge on the ring, and you can refill it, like daily.
Okay, sweet.
But, yeah, let's see. Yeah, but yeah, it can contain up to a level 3 spell. But you don't recognize what the other 2 are.
Okay.
Alright,
Can I help you guys find anything in particular?
Any, wouldn't happen to have any musical instruments at all by chance?
Instruments? Let me check. I think I might have one thing.
and she kind of disappears into the back. While she's searching for that, I'm going to quickly assign some extra GP to everyone, because you're not just starting with 200. Peter, because you had a job, and also you are kind of a petty thief, you came to Ace with 300 GP already, so you have 500 GP total.
Hey.
Val, because you also earned money gigs, you also start with 300 GP, so you also have 500 GP.
I have 500?
Yeah, you have 500 total, because that's 300 additional to that Ace gave you when you were, like, initiated, basically.
Well, I love money.
Marin has had 2 jobs, worked at the Santa Allegrin, which Tea&D paid them well for, as well as they earned tips, and Marin does some side work outside of the show and outside of the court, so he actually has 850 GP total. Nyx is not so well off. Nyx only performed in the Sant Allegrin, so he also has 500, as well as the same of everyone else. And then Prue, what you were doing beforehand didn't really pay, right? You weren't working for money, you were just kind of doing it?
As far as the vigilante justice, yes, I was just kind of doing things, or if I was getting paid, it was like for small scraps, like not a whole lot of money.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Before that was the pirating.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it's been quite some time.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So you and Gunby came to Ace with only 100 GP in your pocket, so you have 300 GP each.
Okay.
Gunby, because the library doesn't pay well. Alright. She comes back from the back and she lays out a small flute in front of you. It's silver. It's only got like about let's see. It's only got about like 6. Well, I guess that's a typical flute, huh? Yeah, it's like a tiny flute. I don't know how else to pronounce it. It's not a piccolo. It's like
A recorder.
flute. No, it's not a recorder.
Cursed instrument.
It's silver, and you play it like a flute. And it has like
It's a harmonica, but sideways.
a harmonica is sideways.
No, fuck, I meant a kazoo.
Yeah,
Kazoo,
kazoo,
Kazoo, but sideways.
sideways. Yes, that's what you're playing. And it's got like intricate little silver like paisley type patterns on it. It's very pretty.
How cute.
And she goes, I have this. If you're a bard, oh yes, this is what I want, thank you. Give me 2 seconds. Oof, I love slow loading times. There we go.
Mood.
This is the flute of performance. It's just a neat little enchanted item. It just kind of helps you perform better, you know?
Could always use more of that. How much?
Well, I'd say, because it's an enchanted item, I'll give it to you for about, how does 90 GP sound?
That sounds completely fair. I will take this lovely flute.
Okay. And she
Is it
hands
just-
it to you.
Is it just a what's it called? Like it just gives me advantage on performance, or
It adds +2 to your charisma score.
my charisma score entirely?
Yup.
Oh my god! Yeah.
When you're playing it.
Okay.
So if you're casting magic with this instrument, you will add +2 to like a performance check or any other charisma-based checks.
Okay. So if I'm using it as like a spell focus,
Yeah, exactly.
amazing. That means anytime I cast a spell, I will have 20 charisma.
Yeah. It's a nice little item.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's
Yup.
definitely worth 90 gold.
Is that all? Anyone else? I can help.
Yes,
She turns to you.
Do you have... Okay, well, first, what do these rings do? I know the one for holding spell slots. What about the rest of them?
Oh, so you already know the ring of minor spell storing, but the other one, the browner one that's kind of carved out of wood, that one is the ring of improved climbing. And, you know, it kind of sounds exactly what it does. Helps you climb real good. That actually belonged to someone famous once. Don't ask me how I got it. And she kind of... and then she looks at, points to the other one. She kind of, like, walks over to you and she, like, points to the other one. She's like, this is the ring of protection. It's kind of like armor, but light and easy to work with. Also, it glows. I don't know why it does that, but it does.
Okay. How much would the ring of spell storing and the armor one be?
Each of these rings are 200 GP each.
Ooh, okay. Do you have anything else that would be... I'm an evocation wizard. Do you have anything that would be helpful for that?
Like what? What are you looking for?
Any particularly nice wands or...
Wands. Let me see. I might have a few. And she kind of laughs and goes, I'm just kidding. I have a lot. 1 second.
Okay.
And she disappears in the back again. Let me do some research. Not really research, but... Very good. That's some good cat content.
Choice.
Is there a way to organize these? There we go. All right. So she comes back out. And she goes, you might be interested in one of these. And she has, she's holding 2 wands. One of which is like... Ooh, someone is typing very loudly. Please mute.
Oh, my apologies.
It's okay. And she goes, oh yeah, so one of them is like a thin black wand. And it kind of has like, from the handle, it has like a tiny gold flame. And there's like a that gold kind of spirals up to the tip of it, and she goes, this wand is I just call it the wand of magic missile, because that's what it does. It casts magic missile, but like without using a spell slot. It has 7 charges, and well, it's the first level version of Magic Missile. It's not too impressive, but it does recharge at daily.
So if you're interested in that, that's what that one does. And then we have this one, and it's like it's kind of like the opposite of the other one. It's more of like a silver color. And it has like a glass orb at the bottom. And she says, this is the wand of magic detection, and it detects magic. Is this the kind of thing you're looking for?
Do you know how many charges the wand of magic detection has
3.
a day?
Yeah.
Okay, how much is that one?
The wand of detection is, let's see. And she fumbles with the tag that's attached to it. And she goes, this will go for about 150 GP.
Okay. Would you take 300 for both that and the ring of the extra spell ring?
Spell storing?
Yes, thank you.
Hmm.
And I promise I will be back. Ace is bleeding me dry at the moment.
Well, I like to work with you, and I know you're friends of Ace and all, but you understand that's robbing me of like 50 GP. How about 325?
Deal.
Alright! And she hands you the wand of... Which one did you get?
Detect magic.
Oh, the detect magic one? Okay, she hands you that wand, and she unlocks the case that has the spell saving ring and hands it over to you. Case again. Alright. You be careful with that.
I will, thank you.
If you lose it, someone might use it against ya. It holds a spell, so if he puts a spell in it and fucking loses it.
Oh, you can change
yeah.
the spell?
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the ring?
Yeah, the ring.
Okay. I thought you were talking about the wand.
Alright. Pleasure doing business with you. Can I help
Yes,
any of
thank
your
you.
friends?
Do you have any, other jewelry?
Jewelry? Other than the rings? Let me see. We have... Well, according to my inventory, I think those rings are the only jewelry we actually have in stock right now, unfortunately. I do have a couple little, I don't know if jewelry's the only thing you're interested in, but we do have a couple weapons, nothing too big, a scroll, some scrolls, some staffs, and some other magic trinkets. What was that?
Tell me about your trinkets and weapons.
Well, I'll start with weapons, because I have that right here in front of me. So, oh goodness. Ooh. I don't know if you'll be able to use this.
What is it?
Because you're not a monk. It's a comma.
What?
A comma. It's like, or a kama? I don't know how it's pronounced. It's basically, it's like little sickles, but usually they're used by monks. Let's see. I do have this wand that casts magic missiles still. That one's pretty good. Let's see. This is... D&D Beyond is annoying. Not to call out someone, but... half the time it's like, you need to buy an expansion pack to see what this weapon does. Let's see. I have this sword here. There's not like... It's just a regular not great sword. It's like a rapier, actually. But it's been enchanted, so it does a little bit of extra damage when you use it. I've seen it used. It packs quite the punch, considering.
Is that it?
Let's see. Ooh. I'm trying. Oh, we do have this dagger. Sorry, it's hard to read my own handwriting sometimes. She reaches under the counter and pulls out like a small velvet box, and inside is a dagger that has a black twisted hilt, and the blade is, it's just a blade. It's sharp. The hilt is like pretty. It almost looks like it's made of black glass, but it's not. Yeah. That's what it looks like. That's the dagger. She goes, careful. You won't want to mishandle this, because it's poisonous.
How much is it?
The dagger? Well, it's not very common. So I think I can give it to you for like 175 GP.
Show me your trinkets.
Trinkets. Alright.
Your magic trinkets.
Alright. Well, we still have the rings that I gave over there to him. Which is a ring of climbing, to reiterate, and a ring of protection. And actually, Nyx clears his throat, and he's like, actually, I'd like to buy the ring of protection. And Ewan nods and is like, sure, I'll be with you in 1 second.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of a waste for me to get Ring of Protection, because I have a card that lets me cast Mage Armor on myself. So...
That's okay. Give me 2 seconds, and then I'm going to...
boy. That's a lot of things. Some of these are weird.
Well, could I interest you in a potion?
What does it do?
Okay, well, we have a selection of potions. We have... Gonna close that. We have this potion, which is, you know, a pretty standard, curing potion. So this essentially does the same as casting Cure Wounds would. Let's see. And then, we have a potion of Sanctuary, which, when you drink it, Please load. Thank you. I'm trying my hardest. It's because it's from 3.5, so I have to translate this a little bit. Oh, it jumped away. Why? Yeah, okay. When you drink it, it casts Sanctuary, which essentially, any opponent attempting to directly attack the warded creature, even with the targeted spell, must attempt a will save. And will, I think, is Constitution. If the save succeeds, the opponent can attack normally and is unaffected by the casting spell. If the save fails, the opponent can't follow through with the attack. And that part of the action is lost and it can't directly attack the warded creature for the duration of the spell. Those not attempting to attack the subject remains unaffected.
How long does it last?
This lasts an hour.
Got anything else?
Yes, and I will tell you about them.
Thanks.
We have this oil. Oh. And when you rub it on your body, you can levitate.
How long does that last?
This one lasts an hour as well.
Okay.
We have a potion of Endure Elements. This one happens to be fire.
I
And that-
don't think I
And the last one I have is a potion of tongues. This helps you speak a language that you don't normally speak.
How long does that last?
All of these potions last an hour.
Okay, I mean, I have a spell for that.
I'm sorry.
Do you have anything else? Like, actual, not things that I have to consume?
I have scrolls.
Okay, what do the scrolls do?
The scrolls are embedded with spells.
Okay. What spells are in the scrolls?
Okay. Give me 1 second. Well, we have several scrolls. Some of them are divine, and some of them are arcane. So
Okay.
I have, arcane. I have one that does minor image. I have one that does detect undead. I have one that does enthrall, and an animal messenger one. Let's see. Oh, and I have one that does mind fog.
I think I'm just gonna buy the wand?
The wand of magic missile?
Uh-huh.
Certainly.
Cool.
Did I give you a price for that already?
Isn't it like 150?
No, that was the price of the detect magic wand.
Oh, yeah, then you didn't give me a price for that.
This wand is a little more expensive because it does have 7 charges. So, I can give it to you for about 215 GP.
Could I convince you for 200 flat?
Make a persuasion check.
Cool. $21.
21? She thinks about it for a second. She goes, yeah, sure. 200 flat works.
Cool.
And she gives it to you in exchange for your money.
Nice.
Slam dunk.
Alright. Is that all? Is there anyone else that I can help?
Oh, Nyx kind of raises his hand and he goes, I'll buy this ring. And he hands over the 200 GP.
And she goes, pleasure doing business with you.
And he has the ring of protection now.
Good.
I'm sorry to bother you. Do you have hydrophobic ink?
Hydrophobic ink? Let me check real quick. And it's not a bother at all.
Thank you.
She just kind of rustles through a cabinet. It's kind of just like looks like a medicine cabinet type thing. And she pulls out a couple vials and she goes,
Well, sure, look, I have a bunch of ink and 2 vials of hydrophobic ink actually right here.
How much for those?
I'll only charge you about 20 GP for those.
Okay, I will take both of those then. And I was wondering about that rapier. What is it enchanted with?
It's just a normal enchantment, so it increases the damage a little bit that it dishes. It's not any particular kind of damage, just the normal slashing damage that it does, or piercing damage, excuse me. And it increases the damage by about 2 points.
I see. How much would you part with that for?
I'll part with that for about 200 GP.
I'm sorry, but I can't make that purchase at this time. However, I was wondering, do you have any cloaks at all? Just like a normal cloak. I'm kind of a bit of an obvious person. If I do say
Sure
so
you are.
myself.
You look like a fish.
Yes, exactly.
I don't see many of you outside of Haven.
Yeah. I've been traveling.
Well, I unfortunately don't actually have any cloaks, but there is a merchant a little bit ways down the way. They'll be open in the morning, and you can purchase a cloak from them. She makes very nice cloaks. And all sorts of clothes.
Thank you very much. As far as the rapier goes, would I be able to make a payment towards it now and then come back later and make another? Would that be okay?
Certainly, I can hold it for you if you make a down payment on it.
Okay, how much would you like for a down payment?
You can just give me 50 GP right now.
Okay, then I will do that. And he hands over 90 GP at this point, right? Because it was 40 for or 20 for both of the two
Yes.
flasks, and then so 20 for both of them or 20 each?
20 each.
Okay, so yeah, then he would be handing over 90 GP.
All
He
right.
does that.
He says, "Thank you. I'll hold that for you."
Thank you.
And she takes the rapier down off the wall, and you see her kind of disappear behind a curtain and come back.
And she goes, "Is that all the business you folks have?"
And she starts like rubbing her eye, and you can tell she's kind of getting tired.
I heard earlier you were talking about something that helps you. Don't know yet.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I heard earlier you were talking about something that helps you speak another language that you don't understand for like an hour.
Oh yes, I have a potion of tongues.
How much is that?
That potion will only cost about 80 GP.
I'm down for that. Can I get that?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And you have the potion of tongues, so when you drink that potion, you can speak a language that you don't normally speak for an hour.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else I can help you with? No? Okay. Well, if you don't mind, I have been closed for about an hour now.
Oh,
So,
right, sorry.
Our apologies. We'll make sure to tell Ace to be a little bit more considerate of local business.
Thank you.
Thank
Tell
you
him
so
I
much
say.
for your time.
Oh, absolutely. You are all so polite. Tell Ace I said hi, and I hope he drops by again soon. It's been a while.
and with
I
that,
will.
Thank you.
and with that, she kind of unlocks all the locks for you and gestures for you to go and waves goodbye. As she closes you out. When you leave, it is now officially dark. The merchants that were here earlier have all packed up and left. And the only thing that's remaining is the lanterns that light the plaza and a couple of wandering late night souls suffering from insomnia. Just kidding, it's not that late. It's only like 9. But it is dark. And so, you guys, not wanting to be amongst the thinner crowds, head back to the little tavern that does hide the entrance to your, or inn that does hide the entrance to your Court of Spades headquarters, and you head downstairs. And do you guys want to do anything before you tuck in for the night? Do you have anybody you want to talk to?
I hand Nyx 75 GP.
He looks at you and goes, Marin, what's this for?
I make more money than you do, and I was gonna buy the ring for you anyway.
Oh, well, thank you. It's okay. Thank you, though. I'll
You just owe me one.
yeah, I'll owe you one. Thanks. And he pockets it. As you're walking down, Nyx kind of lifts up his head and he goes, "Oh, should we tell Jack about leaving in the morning? Didn't Ace say to bring him with us?"
Oh, probably.
Yeah, we should probably look over the Jack.
Jack. Yeah, Jack.
Jake.
Yeah, we probably should get him. Morning.
Okay. Do we want to do that tonight, or should we just do that in the morning? I guess we should do it tonight so that he has some time to pack, like, whatever he needs.
That's fair, that's fair.
Not that we're going too far, but it's about half a day's journey out towards the Evermore.
True. Where can we find him?
He should be in his, like, bunk, I assume. I think I remember where he sleeps. That sounded creepy. I don't know why. Yeah, let's go. And he turns and kind of, like, walks down the corridor. So when you enter this place, there's, like, basically, like, a large gathering area. This is where, like, you assemble for, like, meetings and stuff like that. It's just kind of a common space for you to, like, hang out in if you want. It's not like a rec room or anything. There's not, like, games, but it's where they host the meetings. And then if you go down to the left, there is a long hallway, that splices off into a couple corridors, but you just walk straight down the hallway and go upstairs, and that's where the hallway that has all of your rooms are. And the first one is Ace's, and the one next to that is Jack's. And you knock on the door. Nyx knocks on the door. I assume everyone is fine?
Right behind.
Alright. He knocks, and when he opens it, an unusually short elf opens it. He has long ears and long blonde hair that is braided into two big, thick, beautiful braids, and he is a very beautiful elf. And he looks a little tired, but, like, it doesn't look like you woke him up or anything. He actually has, when you peek into his room, he has a vanity in the back that is being lit by several candles, and his makeup is all spread out. And he's wearing, like, a fluffy pink robe. And he goes, "Oh, hello. Did you need me for something?"
Yes, actually. Our good friend Ace has asked us to take you along with us to our next mission. Checking out a peculiar carnival, I don't know if you heard, recently popped up. The what was it again? Ever what?
The Evermore.
The Evermore.
Yeah, there he is.
And so we just wanted to, let you know, give you some time to pack. We're planning to head out first thing in the morning.
Oh, Ace wants me to go with you? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sure.
That'll be fine. Yeah, okay, I'll pack some things, and that's
that's all good. Is that all you needed?
I believe so, right, guys? I don't think there's anything else we need to relay.
Yeah, no, I think that's it.
Yeah, we'll touch base again in the morning, and don't worry about packing too much. It's only supposed to be about a half-day trips out. So.
Okay. Yeah, we're just investigating, right?
Reconnaissance mission, anything serious. Fully.
Okay. Okay. Works for me. I'll be ready then.
Awesome. Have a good evening.
You too. Good night.
And he closes his door and disappears back into his room. No, Jack is not a child. He's just very small.
How tall is he?
He is, let's see, typical height for an elf. It's like over 6 feet. He is, he's like 5'8".
5'8"?
Yeah.
Oh my god, okay.
Why?
I didn't realize he was taller than Marin.
He's taller than Marin? He's short for an elf, but he's not short.
Marin's short for an elf.
Yeah, Marin is just short. He got the human genes, and then he didn't get any tall genes from those human genes. Still tall. Oh my god, he's taller than like half the party. Well, listen, y'all. Nyx is like 6'2" or something. So
Nyx?
Yeah.
Shit, really?
Yeah, he's 6 foot.
Okay.
Can't make fun of me for being short because it's a racial ability.
Oh my god, all of you are tiny. It's fine. Val is like is like 6'9".
Yeah.
Nyx is the same as Gunby, illegal.
Illegal.
Gunby's a tall human now.
I didn't do the 69 on purpose. Fuck off.
But yeah, so he goes back to his room, and Nyx kind of goes, well, I guess that's everything, so I don't know about you guys, but I'm gonna get some sleep, because it sounds like we probably have a long day ahead of us tomorrow.
Indeed, we're gonna have to keep our be very active, our eyes peeled.
Yeah, so, Marin, and he, like, gestures his head, and because he's like, indicating, because he shares a room with you.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys walk down the hall to your room, which is like a couple doors down from where Jack is. And if nobody wants to, I don't know if anyone wants to talk to each other or ask questions to each other or anything, but if everyone's going to turn in for the night, then I am going to say the closing and then end this session.
Actually, yeah, I actually do have to. Who here are the spellcast? Actually, I don't remember again real quick. What's everyone's classes again?
Oh wait, hold on. Before we do this,
Oh, yeah.
I meant in character.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Okay. Is everyone's character turning in for the night?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so everyone goes to bed?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay. Alright, so you guys all head to bed, and you sleep through the night very peacefully. No one disturbs you because nobody knows that you're there, really, or they shouldn't. Except, you wake up the next morning, and as you are, Jack is there with you. He's all ready to go. And as you are exiting the building, you find something peculiar. It is
I don't like this music.
stabbed through with a small throwing knife, like the kind that they use on people when you're throwing them at someone. You know what I'm talking about, like the little
what
hand
is?
one. there is a note and a bundle of tickets attached to the door of this inn that is completely run down and closed. May I remind you? And the slip of paper just says the circus is open. And that's where we'll bring it to an end.
Oh boy. I don't like clowns. Better not be clowns, swear to God.
But yeah, Starry, if you
Thank
want
you, Em.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Em. This is fucking fantastic.
I'm so glad.
If what?
Oh, if you want to play like whatever music that you play normally when you're just waiting for the stream to start, you can. Because I was only using the campaign specific music. I don't have any like generic happy aftermath music. Ugh. Okay. Okay, well, then make. Oh, okay. Sorry if you need to duck out like immediately. Then good night. Bye. I can play music.
Emily. It
Yeah?
doesn't work this way.
Oh shit! Right.
I'm saying
You're
wrap
streaming.
up fast. Do what
Okay.
you gotta do, but like don't prolong it.
Okay, I'm not planning on it. So, I hope you guys liked this session. I hope I did it. I know it was a lot of me talking and me reading exposition, but I promise next time it'll be a lot more engaging for you guys. You guys are going to interact with a bunch of people and meet some new NPCs. Go exit this little town here, and yeah, we're going to be streaming this campaign again next week at 7 p.m. Hopefully, if all goes as planned.
Next Sunday?
Yes, next Sunday at 7.
Yeah, sure work.
Okay. I want to thank all my players for being here and participating and being awesome. And writing wonderful characters that I got to play with some of the backstories for. And
that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that is the Court of Spades. So we will return and see what the circus has to offer next Sunday. So that is all. I'm gonna say good night to the stream. And Starry, you can go to bed.